Welcome to the Lippert Technical Institute. I'm Charlie, and I'll be your technical trainer. Today we'll be covering the Luminary Lab FlowMax faucet and its installation, operation, maintenance, and troubleshooting. So here it is, out of the box. Now what you'll notice is we have two metal braided lines here, one that has cold water and one that's for hot water. Now moving up here, we have a metal collar with two screws, a metal washer, and a rubber washer. Then you'll also notice an aerator here that can be replaced. And lastly, we have a lever for your on-off and your cold and hot movement. Now let's take a look at the tools necessary to install it on your RV. For this installation, you'll need a wireless drill, a flashlight, a Phillips screwdriver, adjustable wrenches, tape measure, a pencil to draw lines with. Now you'll also need a 1.5 inch hole saw, a bucket, and safety glasses. Now let's head out to the RV and get started. Now let's go ahead and drill a hole in the countertop for your faucet. Depending upon the uniqueness of your sink and faucet combination will dictate where you actually drill your hole. So in our instance, we have a center drain sink here. So we're going to measure over and make a mark right in the center, and that for our 14 inch is obviously 7 inches here. And now the uniqueness of our faucet will dictate that we measure back as we're trying to get that exact flow from the spout of the faucet that goes right down the drain. I'll make that 1.5 inch measurement, and that will be our center mark for our hole. Now that we have that marked out, we're going to take this drawer out and get our safety glasses on. Now what you're going to need is a 1.5 inch hole saw to cut your hole. If you're replacing a faucet instead of adding a brand new one, first you're going to need to shut off the water supply to the faucet. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on the faucet and then turn it back off. That's going to relieve the pressure in the lines. Then you're going to bring in a bucket or a suitable container depending upon the space you're actually installing the faucet, so you can catch the water that drains out when you open them up. Then you're going to disconnect the mounting hardware from the faucet and remove it from either the sink or the countertop, depending upon which install you have. Once that faucet is removed, make sure that the area that you're going to put the new faucet in is dry and free of debris. The first step in installing your faucet, you're going to need to remove the metal collar and the metal washer from the faucet itself. And you're going to spin those off of there and set those aside. Now that we have those off the faucet, we're going to thread the cold and hot line through that hole that we drilled in the countertop. Now you're going to want a nice tight seal between the rubber washer and the countertop. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the metal washer and the metal collar and slide those over your hot and cold lines. Now, making sure that these Phillips screws are flush inside the metal collar. We're going to go ahead and slide those on. Okay, good. Now that the faucet's there, we're going to take a Phillips screwdriver and tighten those Phillips screws to tighten the coupler up against the countertop. Now that we have the faucet secured to the countertop, we're going to go ahead and secure your cold and hot lines to the existing lines on the RV. Now this particular instance, we can hand tighten these to the existing lines. However, you might need an adjustable wrench. Now you can go ahead and turn the water back on and check for leaks. Now let's clean everything up, put our drawer back in, and head back to the classroom, and we'll talk about maintenance and troubleshooting. Next, let's talk about troubleshooting. Vibrations can cause an awful lot of problems with an RV's plumbing when you're driving up and down the road. So the first thing you're going to want to do if you see any of these problems is you're going to tighten up all the hardware in the plumbing lines. But if you still have a problem, first thing with the irregular flow, what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew the cap at the end of your faucet, and inside there you have a little screen mechanism. And what you're going to do is you're going to clean that out. You can rinse it in the water both directions and get all that hard water and calcium out of there, and then just put it back in the way you found it, and you should be good to go. Now, the next one is there's a leak from the aerator when the faucet is on. What you're going to do there is you're just going to reinstall the aerator. It might be crooked inside there. Now for the third one, the aerator has irregular or reduced water flow. What you're going to do is you're going to remove the aerator and clean the dirt and debris and calcium out of that one, and then reinstall it, and you should be good to go. Now for maintaining your faucet, you're going to want to make sure that you clean the faucet periodically with a soft cloth. Now, what you don't want to do is use harsh chemicals, steel wool, or abrasive cleaners. This concludes the Better Bath Faucet aftermarket installation video.